G'day, my name's Josh from Wedgetail Rack. Today we're going to show you behind the scenes on developing a new Wedgetail rack for the Australian conditions. Now in Australia we have some of the toughest conditions in the world on our tracks in our outback. So when we get a request from a customer or from a shop or a new vehicle is released to the market, there's quite a process we need to go through to bring a finalised product to you. In this series we're going to go through all the steps that we bring together to produce a finalised product, starting with evaluating the vehicle. We have to evaluate the vehicle to see what's involved in it and how to produce a roof rack for it. Then we go on to producing a concept, a prototype, testing the prototype, and finally finalising the fitment for you so it makes sense on the road. We've been in business for more than 50 years, so we know how to make a roof rack, but cars are changing all the time. We need to make sure the new designs are suitable and will last. That's very important to us as a family business. So come with us and see how we get a rack on your car. G'day guys, Josh from Wedgetail Rack. Now the first part of our development process is to evaluate the vehicle. So for this series we're going to be looking at the F-150, the new F-150. It's new to Australia, we haven't seen one before, we don't understand anything about the car. We've been approached by a customer, he wants a rack for his F-150. Nobody currently does anything on the market in Australia. Somebody's kindly given us a car to evaluate, so we're going to have a look at it, we're going to see what's involved, how easy is this going to be, is there anything we can do for it, and ultimately bring the information together to move on to the next step, which is to design a concept. Righto guys, this is the F-150. It's been imported from Detroit, from the Dearmont plant in Detroit, converted right-hand drive in Australia, so they're interesting facts to know. We want to keep that on board. There's rumours that it's an aluminium body. I haven't confirmed that. That if it is, it'll be the first vehicle we've dealt with yet that has an aluminium body. So one way to find that out, I've got a magnet here. Yep, it's an aluminium body. The magnet's not sticking, so there's no steel in there. That's going to be interesting. We haven't seen this before. Probably the only other vehicle with an aluminium body in Australia at the moment would be something like a Tesla, which we don't very often fit roof racks to. So this is new for us. We've got some learning to do. Well, let's hop up and have a look, see what's on the roof. So the first step whenever we look at a new car is what's on the roof. In this case, not much unfortunately. So where we like to mount roof racks is always in this cant rail area. So you got the roof skin comes across and joins the side panel skin. Generally they're spot welded together down in this ditch here, and it's often where the roof is the strongest. All the structural members are underneath this cant rail. Realistically, the roof skin is just an umbrella over your head to keep you dry. Often, you know, they'll cut it out and put a sunroof in, so it does very little structurally. And as a result, we don't want to be mounting a roof rack onto the roof skin. You get all sorts of nasty problems down the track. So cant rail's where it's at. That's where the strength is. So when we're looking at this cant rail and we need to mount into it, probably 30 to 40% of vehicles have an actual fixture put in this cant rail by the manufacturer of the vehicle. So they might put like an 8mm thread in here. When that happens, it's amazing. We can just bolt straight into it and happy days. On the remaining 60% of vehicles, we have nothing. So we end up either drilling a hole and bolting from underneath, or we rivet. Now drilling a hole and bolting from underneath potentially is a stronger way to do it. However, you've got to strip the whole interior of the car to do so, and often it's not worth the 6 or 7 hours of labour to do so, to strip the interior of the car. We prefer to use a rivet. We have some very, very strong rivets that are more than suitable for mounting to roofs. I have a problem. This is an aluminium vehicle, so we cannot rivet to this car, so we need to be looking for an alternative. Pretty much our only option left is to drill a hole, put a bolt through, and put a washer and a nice nut on the back side to spread the load. So to do that, I need to have a look at the back side of this cant rail. I need to remove a little bit of the headlining inside, have a look, see what we're dealing with, see if it's possible to put a nut on the inside. So regardless of what we find on the roof, whether there's fixed points or none, we really do need to have a bit of a look at the underside structure of the roof. So it's all good if there's fixed points up there, but if they're not supported, we can't well use them and give it a 100% off-road rating because we could have problems down the track. So regardless of the vehicle, we always pull the head lining down and look at the actual structure under the cant rail to make sure it's sufficient. In this case, we have an added problem. So what I'm looking for this time is how strong is the cant rail? And can I get to the underside of it to actually put a nut on there? We may not be able to, but let's have a look. We'll see what we've got. So we'll pull the door rubber down. And we obviously want to be careful of the customer's car. It's not our vehicle and we need to not go too heavy on it. We're just having a bit of a peek. I will slightly pry away the airbag and the headlining panel. And I'm going to have a look up there and see what I can see. Unfortunately, I don't think I can see the back of that cant rail. This might be a problem. I've got access points where I can just feel it, but I can't have access to it all the way. I cannot see the bottom side of the cant rail. So my first feeling here is that putting a bolt and nut on this vehicle is out of the question. I happened across this picture on the internet, which is a cross section of what we'd call the roof turret or the cant rail area. Somebody's actually taken the roof of an F-150 and cut it, and now it all makes sense. We've got the turret or the cant rail coming along here. You've got the B-pillar skin, comes up and over and wraps underneath. The roof skin wraps over and is spot welded together in this valley. This is where we're seeking to mount. And then you have this structural member on the inside. So therefore, when we're trying to feel for the backside of the cant rail, we're actually hitting this structural member here. There is some holes in this structural member, but not enough to get a nut on the backside of here with a nice big washer. So we're stuffed. We cannot put a nut and washer on the backside of the cant rail where we'd normally go. This structural member here and this structural piece here cannot be touched. We cannot drill a hole in that. That is not something we're prepared to do on a vehicle with an aluminium body. So right now, drilling a hole through here and here, out of the question, can't be done. Putting a nut and washer on the back of here, out of the question, cannot be done. We have one choice left, and that is to use a clamp mount style. Righto guys, we've had a look at it. We got the information we need. Let's take all this information back to the design team. We'll put all our brains together. We'll see what we can come up with. Stay tuned. Wait and see the concept.